What is the biggest myth you would say about crypto?
Oh, money laundering. I think that's the best. Every time I hear about something about crypto, the first thing people say, but there could be something with criminal intent. I mean,
It sounds with it starts with the same letters again, like crypto and then CR, criminal, and
well, I think that's the only the only things they have in common, but it just doesn't exist. I mean, if you look just at the numbers, if you try to do money laundering with crypto, you're the dumbest criminal on earth. I mean, for those that think that they can do these transactions, it will be found so fast and the amounts will be locked out so quickly. It doesn't make any sense because the thing is, let's compare banks to crypto. If you're a bank, you know the name of the client, right?
yes,
But usually you don't know anything about what they did before. And we know it because during this year, some of the biggest banks in the Netherlands, like ING and ABN AMRO, had to pay massive amount of penalties over money laundering and not being able to catch transactions in the right way and clarify them. And so that's a disease of the old economy. You know the name, but you have no idea what they did with their money or how did it even arrive. You can play around it quite easily. On the other side, you have crypto. I might don't know who you are. This is also changing these days because you have tools like chain analysis and so on that you can actually explore who the person are, who are the wallet holders. But on the other side, I know everything that you've done with your money. I know where you got your crypto and which wallets it went to. There's something called the Big Bang of crypto. And if you go and search for it, you'll see that you can see all the transactions on a multitude of different assets and which wallets they went to. And it looks like a big bang. Like you see one wallet and then it pings for different wallets. So I have all the know-how of where the money went to, which is actually what you're looking when someone is trying to launder money or do criminal actions with it. And I think that crypto actually in that regard helps safeguard against criminal actions. So fine, we might share the C and the R, but we counter those. So
it's a safer system then.
It's a much safer system. It's a much more transparent system. And I think that at the end, if you're asking yourself, okay, we want to stop criminals from accessing this kind of any new tools, right? I mean, I don't think anyone can say that they want to support child slavery or human trafficking or whatever cartels on whatever border in whatever area. You don't want to have your money go there. But the thing is, if you look just clinically, again, very clear-cut numbers, under 1% of criminal actions are done with crypto, within crypto. If you look at just the regular euro, US dollar, so what is known as fiat currency, it's about 10%. So we haven't scaled to the level of criminality of the traditional financial ecosystem, and I hope that we'll never go and scale to those levels. But I will also not be lectured by the traditional financial system about criminal use of the assets when they seem about 10 times as high as crypto.
Yeah, good one. And what is the influence of social media, do you think, on crypto?
I think it's the conveyor of adoption. So if you look at in the past, people usually were forced by the change, right? When we went away from the gold mark and we moved into those interesting little paper money that we're supposed to trust with the value that it's carried on top of it, then it wasn't like we had social media or newspapers too much that really advanced it. It was just, okay, now it's that point, and governments had the strength to do that change. Crypto arrives in a very institutionalized ecosystem that is not known for being too innovative to an extent. And social media and to a great extent allowed strong levels of debates, which carry with adoption, which carries with bettering our ecosystem. While on the other side, also having something that I don't like as much, which is the ability to manipulate assets to a degree, specifically their value. And a good example comes from a person that I personally admire quite a lot with his strength, bravery, and entrepreneurship capabilities, and that's Elon Musk. But on the other side, I feel that the risk of manipulating people into buying certain assets, and you see the volatility around it, that's something that I'm actually quite disappointed by his actions. When he throws a tweet about Dogecoin or Shibu or any of the other, pardon my French, but shitcoins, I'm quite disappointed. I'm like, I understand the rascal side of it, but I mean, Elon, you have billions upon billions of money. And for a person that has 10 euros and they go and buy their Doge and they have no idea what's high, what's low, what's the right time to go in, and then they lose 90% of it. That's their last $10. I will never carry this or want to carry this kind of responsibility on my shoulders, especially when I'm keenly aware of how volatile these assets can be. And that's, for me, I think, is the more wicked side of the social media effect on cryptocurrencies. And it also hints that we still have quite a lot of room to grow where we have more maturity in this field.
Yeah, I think it's being, as you mentioned, Elon is of course a huge influencer. As long as he indeed says something on social media, there are maybe 10 videos already made around that one sentence that he said, or one quote, and then influencing people to buy or to sell or to, and he has a large influence because I see the numbers changing immediately on all those apps indeed. And I think it's also part of people showing that image of, oh, if you're a crypto and then you're like an instant millionaire or billionaire, and then you can live the luxury life and the Lamborghinis.
Is this really the impression? So usually I see it from like people come and ask, how do you approach crypto and so on and so forth. I would love to actually hear, how do you approach crypto? Because how do you view it? And how do you view this kind of different parts of it and your kind of external impression of this thing called cryptocurrencies?
I think that, well, there was a question on my mind that I had. I always wonder if crypto is really only for the elite people, or is it especially something that is more inclusive for everyone, that this gives other people more opportunity or chances than, you know, with the traditional banking system. I wonder, because indeed social media has a huge influence. You reach a lot of people in all sorts of layers and income levels. But I do wonder if crypto is really only for the elite, or is crypto for everyone? And how can we make sure that this could be an opportunity for everyone in the whole world to engage more and be more in charge of their finances and also, earn some money? What do you think?
Well, I have to admit that for my impression, crypto has been the biggest Robin Hood in town since day immemorial. I mean, I know more people that came out of poor backgrounds and or lower and middle class backgrounds that are now millionaires and billionaires. They would have never had the opportunity to get there if they tried to climb the corporate ladder, or maybe risking everything on an unknown startup. And it's for me always amazing to see that most of the people that I actually know around me were not rich.
Interesting.
They haven't arrived with a lot of capital. They actually took a risk on something that is equalizing our society more than meets the eye. And I think that when people look at crypto these days, they hear a lot about, oh, that bank went into crypto and that fund went into crypto. Oh, and that rich person holds crypto, Elon, Bezos, Steele, etc. But beyond those like 10 people and the whatever few hundred institutions, you have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that have crypto, have been there either from the get-go or even recently, and heavily improved their lives. And the question is just, how high are you ready to go? That's it. I think crypto literally tells humanity, you have now the second internet revolution. So technically the third, because like there was 1.0 and 2, fine, 3. But we haven't had the same opportunity of reaching those high goals since that point. And the previous point historically, you had people like Bill Gates. Who knew that someone that created some crappy operating system with a lot of challenges would become one of the richest people on earth? He didn't. He started literally in his parents' garage. That was the first office of Microsoft. And where he is today, nobody doubts this thing called the internet or computers. Same with Apple. Same with even AOL and other providers around it. The crypto right now provides the opportunity for those who are ready to build and able to even more than just build, but have discipline and commitment to keep on building it, to harness the opportunity to be at the highest echelons of human society. And my only hope when they are able to do it, some already are, that they also keep to the ethics and the turning the dreams of what crypto aim to do into the wider societal evolution as indeed part of that commitment to keep on evolving humanity forward. And this is something that I think if you don't have any money, I'm not saying put all your money in crypto, but why wouldn't you at least explore?
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be with $100 or 1,000. Start with 5. Start with 10. See how it works for you. I mean, the worst that can happen, fine, you lost a cup of coffee.
True. Yeah. I think it's more in, spreading that knowledge and building that trust. I do value financial freedom, and I do think that indeed crypto is for a lot of people in reach to to also become indeed rich or financial stable also. But I do think that it needs a lot of spreading knowledge, like how does it work? Because again, I do feel that a lot of financial knowledge is not being given like at school. Like it begins a little bit with how to handle money, but it is still like even the mortgage. I can remember like 20 years ago, you could easily get a mortgage, even if you were just a student and you're studying something, and then the bank would say, oh, well, in a few years, you will earn a lot of money. So here's $300K, just buy your house and do it. And things have turned like instantly. Now it's so difficult to buy your first house. And I do see people now that are being an entrepreneur, seeing crypto as hey, you know what? I'm going to earn my money or invest in that part. And I do see people growing and indeed buying their house with just cash money now. Yeah. So it opens doors. Yes, it opens doors for people that might not had an own house if they just had their normal job and 9 to 5.
Look, I know a guy that if you went back a year ago, he could not. He found it extremely hard to pay the rent. The rent, not even the to buy a house. And now he's aiming at buying a €2 million house. 1 year. Now, again, don't take it as a financial advice, and do look carefully, and do the same measures that you would do when you take a mortgage, right? You go and explore and check, and you don't just buy any house. You look at the neighborhood, schools, supermarkets. You actually take quite a lot of time to find out if this is the right mortgage that you're ready to take for the long-term commitment. And you should look at crypto in similar manner, more long-term commitment as it's evolving and growing, and have a bit of inner discipline. And you hit the nail on the head with saying that we are not receiving the right financial education in school, let alone sometimes at home. And to a degree, also with how you look at taking a mortgage, at the end, what is a mortgage? Why should you own a house? So if you go to the 1950s, owning a house was not really a thing.
True.
It was, people looked at housing as something that is allowing them to have portability, so they could move and change rentings. They could argue better around the size of the rent, and if they really wanted to go and invest, so looking at it as an investment vehicle, they bought a house. But at a certain point, it became the bourgeoisie dream. It became something that everyone needs to own a house. Now, if you don't know how to deal with real estate, why would you own a house? What if it's cheaper just to rent? What if it makes a bit of more ease to look at it in a different manner? Because the only people that benefit from mortgages are the mortgage lender. That's the bank. It's not you. It's not a student that takes 300K loan from a bank. True. I mean, if your salary is McDonald's level, that's not an easy one to do. And I think that the same with crypto. I think people need to start asking themselves, what is the mechanism of my freedom? And how do I build the cash flow to liberate myself out of it? And it doesn't matter if it's from the banks or from university scholarships and tuitions and so on. It's what makes you free? What fits you? We ask it about ourselves with a partner, right? We have all the doubts. Are they the right partner? Do they want to have the same kids that I do? What is the long-term view of it? And can I stay in 10,000 different shades of doubts that we check. When was the last time we did it on our wallet? When was the last time we did it on us as a person? And I think that if you look at yourself, again, as a portfolio, what do you need to get by a year? People sometimes can get by 10K a year, 30K a year. They look at others, they may be needing 100 or 1 million or whatever. Everyone has different temperatures, different requirements, different needs. It's really so private, so personal, so intimate to you.
True, yeah. But I think the whole system in especially the Netherlands is designed the way, that you want to own or buy your first house. Because indeed, when you just mentioned it, I was like, why do you want to buy a house? Because I think it's being said to you or being told, like, that is, very important to do.
Hashtag life goal.
Yeah, it is. And I'm now wondering, indeed, where that started. I think that because everyone is doing it, or someone is saying, like, hey, it's very, especially the market now is really, like, upsetting, right? It's really difficult to buy a house. People are buying houses without even looking at the house. But indeed, why would you want to own a house? I think also the part is that the rent is so high these days that for an apartment average in Rotterdam, in like the city center, you would pay like €1,800 a month.
Easy.
And the weirdest thing is that what if you have a great job? You have an amazing contract. You earn around, 500,000 euros a month. You can easily pay that 1,800 euros a month. But if you want to get a mortgage, people were like, yeah, no, 10 years ago, you did something or you didn't pay a bill. So you have like a registration at BKR. So you cannot buy a house. And you're like, that is weird. So I can show you, I can pay, every month the rent, but I cannot buy a house. But now I'm triggered because you said, why do you want to buy a house? Because you see it more as an investment in an asset.
Yeah. I
and
think
that is not
everyone should.
And is it for, so that was my question. Should everyone invest in owning a house? Or would you say, no, it depends on that intimate part that you just said. It's for everyone different.
Well, let's take a very simple, that is the example is the broadest example. Mm-hmm. Why do you buy a house?
Because I thought that, owning a house, it's yours. Even if you have like reconstruction or something, it's like you're putting more value in the house. But indeed, it is an asset.
If I break it, you go to a bank, mm-hmm. you take a loan, mm-hmm. a significant loan. It's not like you're asking your parents for to cover your first rent deposit or something. It's probably the biggest amount of money you'll put in your life, mm-hmm. in not always the best terms, mm-hmm. and it can fluctuate and so on. But you're buying it so you could live in it, mm-hmm. so you're still paying rent to the bank.
Exactly.
So you're buying an asset that doesn't make money for you because you're residing in it. When I own a house, mm-hmm. as I mentioned, I rent an apartment. Mm-hmm. Why? Because my cash flow allows me to do it with no worries. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm going into debt. It's not that in debt. It's not like I'm going. It's not. If I would have bought it, mm-hmm. I would have had debt on my balance sheet.
Yeah.
So I prefer to buy a house, let someone else rent it. Mm-hmm. They pay for that rent. They pay for that mortgage. Yeah. Maybe a bit of my rent.
Yeah.
And that asset makes me money. So why would I buy a house, take all the liabilities, mm-hmm. sit in it, and don't make money out of it? For me, it doesn't make any sense. Now, I get some things around it. It's mine. But we're talking emotions in a financial future. So if you take your emotions aside for a second, me. I know this is right now our era. Yeah. Everything is about me. Mm-hmm. Well, not me specifically. It should be probably, but no. But how about you actually look at yourself? What makes you, again, gain your freedom? Taking a mortgage mm-hmm. to do just this specific action, you're taking 2 steps back in the hope of making 1 step forward. And for me, the mathematics don't hold true. So I think that for any person asking themselves to rent or buy, I agree. Rent has gone through the roof. Mm-hmm. And it will probably continue mm-hmm. because the Netherlands tried to aim to put itself at the same level as other capitals, so other money capitals of the world. Yeah. Well, let me give a news to the Dutchies. It costs a lot to live in such a country. Mm-hmm. So if you're moving to Dubai, you're going to pay a pretty penny mm-hmm. to be there. If you're going to Singapore, you're going to pay a very pretty penny to stay there. Same with London. Yeah. Same with New York. Now, if the Netherlands wants to be the new New York, mm-hmm. well, as the Dutch say, geweldig, right? Go for it, but it carries consequences. And it's not just about where we want to be as a country. Mm-hmm. It also has to do with both governmental, especially local governments and regional governments, that hasn't scaled the building capacity and the city planning and the growth of the needs of society per mm-hmm. year to substantiate the reduction of rent. So if we made, again, simple equation, if you have 100,000 people a year that needs a house, you should probably have 100,000 apartments built every year, just to equalize it, mm-hmm. at minimum. But it's not the case like that for years. we're under building and we have over requirements to enter.
Yeah.
So you'll start having a bubble forming because there's a gap between the two. You should try to aim to at least equalize it or have a bit right now, more supply than the demand to reduce their prices again. But as long as the Netherlands refuses to build high, I mean, Rotterdam is the only modern city in the Netherlands. The only modern city. And it's fantastic. Every time that I drive to Rotterdam, it feels like you're going back to the future. And wow, there's more than 20 floors on that building. Yeah. Amazing. You hardly see it in The Hague or in Amsterdam or especially in Amsterdam. You'd be like, okay, you're trying to be to try to grow. That doesn't happen. So I think that in that regard, there's almost kind of a bubble forming through neglect. Yeah. Let's be honest. Neglect on the development of housing and the development of it throughout the Netherlands. And on the other side, and by the way, not just Netherlands, it's a European story, or even a global one. On the other side, I keep on asking myself, why? Why would you even commit yourself to such a thing? Sometimes you're not ready to commit to your boyfriend or girlfriend to go through their life like this. Why would you take such liability on your balance sheet?
But I think that is what I was trying to say. That with Venture Cafe, we always say that we would provide equal access to all facilities. That if you want to start an organization or start a company. We believe that everyone should have equal access to all those facilities. Well, we could change that and saying that we would want to have equal access for everyone to all knowledge. Because I do feel that we are pushing people from, I think it starts at school already, with a certain image of life. And that is where I also see that, you know, the entrepreneurial mindset, that you need to still inspire young kids up until, you know, university and further. You have to keep inspire people. So that's what I personally love about Venture Cafes, that, you know, you're meeting here like-minded people that are willing to change the world by starting an organization or a company or something. But I do feel that we are living in a society where there's this perfect image of how you should become, and that's when you're successful. So you are successful when you own a house. That is a sort of image that is being told. And what I wish for Rotterdam, because Rotterdam is an amazing city, but we have a lot of inequality here. So we have people that have access to all those facilities, knowledge, how to start a company, how to manage your financial assets, how to, even how to find and keep a job. But there's also a part of Rotterdam that doesn't have the access or the knowledge. Even not have access to internet. There's still people not having internet. So back to going to crypto, what I love about your story and how I'm now connecting it to, you know, the bigger vision for society is that if we could make sure that we could give a lot more people or everyone access to the knowledge of what crypto could do, but also learning how to manage your finances. Like, how does it start and how does it work up until what crypto could do? That will be very interesting to change a whole new society, like to change this society.
And I think that really connects to the idea that you are your own bank. At the end, True. It shifts the form of responsibility from someone else to you. And, you know, you said something very interesting, that people want to own the house, right? But they don't own it. The bank owns it.
The bank's own, yeah.
So you're actually not the owner until you finish paying. So there's a lot of houses with a few owners. And when you look at it from the crypto perspectives, you're saying, yeah, but that's ridiculous. So you want to actually have an educated, highly skilled, highly motivated society that aims to push the next step of humanity continuously forward. And I think that if I'm looking at lessons that we need to learn from how do you own a house? How do you manage your finances? But also about pension funds and about taking loans from the next generation. Like our generation is now doing the sins of our fathers. Our fathers took loans in our name to retire. We take loans in the name of our kids and their kids now, so we could retire. And our kids, those people that were born in the early 2000s and even born now, will take a loan from their kids, the kids of the kids, and the kids of the kids. And at a certain point, you're becoming fake rich. It's like you're fake owning your house. So if we are looking at how and what is our responsibility, and at least this is what I see from my own hat as private Wilhelm person, is that my responsibility, and I think that should be a responsibility of our entire generation. I'm saying it as a millennial. I know it's the kind of oxymoron, millennials taking responsibility. But I think we should take responsibility to fix the crap that was, pardon my French on it, but the crap that we inherited from our forefathers in the promise to our kids. And we have the opportunity to do it. I think crypto entails in it a complete evolution of our society. And we are able to potentially shift the balance of both powers and struggles that are happening in the world today and make it a much more balanced, a much freer society than the ones that we right now experience ourselves.
I kind of sometimes feel that there is a solution like to humanity and there is more knowledge, but it wouldn't benefit the small amount of people that rule the world if this knowledge would be spread out to all of us, because you would give power to a lot of people.
Well, you see it from, we talked about social media, but all of those social media platforms, if I want to put an ad about cryptocurrencies, so to allow people to enter a field that can actually help them potentially quite a lot, I'm not allowed to put those ads. A hedge fund can. The sharks in Wall Street can. So all of those other parties can do it, but I'm told by Meta and Twitter and, by the way, it's continuously shrinking pool, right? It used to be Facebook alone, Instagram alone, WhatsApp
it's all
alone.
Owned.
Now it's all, exactly. It became much smaller. And unfortunately, I think that in that, social media actually plays a very negative role with how to cap cryptocurrencies from having a much even wider adoption. It focuses it on Elon Musk's tweet rather than the essence of Ethereum and Chainlink and Bitcoin and the adoption of all of those different assets by companies and institutions and regular people. And that, I think, is something that indeed those kind of small pool of societal influencers have taken, unfortunately, quite a negative position. And on that, they should have the responsibility to open up. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that we should see an ad saying, buy crypto now and it will make you rich. No, there's responsible ads. Right, there is rules around what you can do, what you can't promise results, you can't do certain things. There is still regulations around it that should be held, but it shouldn't be stifled out. Crypto should not be pushed aside in the sake of maintaining unworkable structures. Crypto should be used in here as a force to tell people, hey, explore responsibly, evolve continuously. So learn, study, educate yourself, enter, see that it works for you, and elevate from there. I would have hoped someone would have told me that in high school with the regular money.
True. Yeah.
Let alone crypto.
True. No, that is exactly what I was trying to say. Yes, and that's why I think that for example, microfinancing in a lot of countries is the best solution ever, because it's, empowering people, but it's changing also the way people think about money and how to earn money and how to go around with money, like how to use it. What is money?
Yeah.
And I think we have to go towards an end of our talk. I do want to ask, the last question is, what is the future for Icoinic as a company, and where do you see yourself?
Well, I think the future for Icoinic is quite robust. So we are heavily focused on being the best professional asset manager within not just the Netherlands, but within a global environment, of course, first in the EU and then growing from there. I think that the future holds, especially next year, will be a strong year of regulatory enforcements, which we are happy to have been also quite supportive in supporting papers and documents to both the ECB and other regulators within the EU and the Netherlands. And it is my hope that we'll continuously grow, professionalize, and put the Netherlands on the map of asset management again. Put the Netherlands as a capital leader and pioneer in the way that we develop, wrap, and offer asset management services for both private individuals, companies, and yes, also large institutions. So I think that this is where you'll keep on seeing Icoinic developing in the same professional, steady, and balanced growth that we have done through the years, from being a small company with just a desk or two and Beursplein 5 in Amsterdam, to having 20 people and in all the stock exchange in the world, with clients from Arnhem to Rotterdam, from Groningen down south to Maastricht, being one of the only Dutch, fully Dutch, cross regional and city asset management provider. And I think with that growth, we'll probably be able to extend those services with our Dutch flag, with a lot of cheese in our back on the European level as well.
Nice, thank you. And I want to end this conversation first by thanking you, of course, for being a part of our podcast and being so open and sharing some thoughts, about your vision about crypto in the future. And I do wish from Venture Cafe part that we would have, continue our collaboration. And I do think that I'm happy that Venture Cafe is a community of students, startups, scale-ups, small SMEs, people that are thinking of starting a company. But what I wish for Venture Cafe is that this is the place where you talk about entrepreneurship or talk about money, but you get knowledge that would normally in life you wouldn't get that knowledge that easy. And I do think that knowing about how crypto could work for you as an entrepreneur, we have a lot of entrepreneurs still in the city that might not find the right way to crypto or hear about it. Or I would like to see more diversity in our community, and also sharing that knowledge that what could crypto do for you, for your assets, for you as an entrepreneur. That is my biggest wish, because I do feel that there are so many interesting entrepreneurs here in this city alone, and of course out there too, that might not get that easy access to this knowledge that you just provide. So I hope that this podcast and the people that are listening, this is like the first step, and that we, I'm looking forward to extend our collaboration and see how we could change that part of reaching more people that are a little bit outside the normal group of entrepreneurs that are coming here, like the normal startups and scale-ups, as in normal people that find a way naturally.
Yeah, I think that it's first of all a pleasure to cooperate around it, and I think that as a company that aims to make crypto work for you, as Icoinic does, this is something that for us it's a great privilege to be able to sit with entrepreneurs and young and older individuals that aim to actually make changes in society and come freely. It's such a beautiful human treat to come freely, willingly in the exploration of knowledge, and for us to be able to share our understandings and our from our long track record and knowledge, and share it with the rest of the ecosystem here in Rotterdam is brilliant, in the hope of seeing them utilize it and grow as well. And this is indeed a collaboration that I'm taking quite a lot of pride in being able to come here, talk to the brilliant people that come month after month on the third Thursday of the month, to discuss just openly, no barriers, no boundaries, no limitations, just asking questions, getting direct to the point answers as much as we can. Yeah. Again, as I say all the time, don't ask me about asset A or asset B. I will not give you a recommendation, but it for us is critical to advance the education and the knowledge about how crypto can really work for you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you all listeners. This was a podcast of Venture Cafe. I'm Manushka Imanbox, and this was Wilhelm Roth, CEO of Icoinic. Thank you so much.